Добър вечер на всички. Извинявам се за суматохата, обясних вече какъв е проблема, извинявам се и на лекторите. Бих искала да кажа, че ми е изключително приятно да представим събитие, което е част от Международните фотографски срещи. Едно събитие, което през миналата година много ни липсваше и аз много се радвам, че господин Монтлиев успя тази година да реализира събитието. Преди да му дам микрофона да представи лекторите тази вечер, бих искала да кажа няколко думи за него самия. Той е ръководител и създател на специалността фотография и графичен дизайн в Академията за музикално, танцово и изобразително изкуство в Пловдив. Също така е основната движеща фигура на фестивала Международни фотографски срещи, един от най-старите фестивали в Европа. И това, което е не на последно място, той е един изключително енергичен откривател на млади таланти в България и по света. И не само, че ги открива, но и успява да ги мотивира да продължат своята работа. Сега ще му дам микрофона, за да представи кои са нашите лектори тази вечер. Благодаря ви.
Аз благодаря на госпожа Павлова за тези много хубави думи за мен. Тази вечер на вашето внимание ще бъдат встъпления, изложения трима. На трима гостите на фестивала. Първи е господин Ираклис Папайоану, дългогодишен куратор, автор на статии на публицистика в Гърция, един от съоснователите на първия голям фестивал в Солун, фотографски, с магистратура и докторат в фотография в живот. От една година е директор на Музея на фотографията в Солун. Ако може би знае тази невероятно силна институция, намираща се в сградата на старото пристанище. Неговата презентация ще бъде върху най-новия проект, който те са реализирали, посветен на мигрантите. Второто участие е от господин Тунч. Той е асистент в департамента по фотография в Академията по изкуствата в Синан в Истанбул. Това е неговото професионален ангажимент, но същевременно той работи към един нов център, създаден в Истанбул, по-скоро към Академията, който се нарича Флам и който буквално е Center for Photography Application and Research за приложение и изследване. Разбирате го за изследване на приложението на фотографията и самостоятелни. И за тази малко по-така обобщена формулировка на Флам е работа по един проект на една фондация в Истанбул, който се нарича проект за развитието на фотокнигата в Истанбул. Тоест Флам за това заглавие се занимава с промотиране на фотографската книга. Този нов феномен последните 10, а за нас няколко години. И който е координатор на фотофестивал Бук, фестивал на фотокнигата в Истанбул, има вече второ издание, и който се включи в една верига от фестивали за книгата, която е Истанбул, Касел, Лоц и Москва. Там направих една верига, подобна на тази фестивал в Лайц. И третият, не бих казал лектор, гост тук с презентация, е Димитри Ховански, който е лауреат, фотограф от Москва, който е лауреат на миналогодишното издание на фестивала в Краснодар. Един много голям фестивал в Краснодар. По един модел, почти навсякъде, големите фестивали, лауреата от портфолиото и следващата година прави фотоизложба и тази негова фотоизложба, която ще бъде октомври 20 в Краснодар, сега е в Пловдив и той ще говори за, поне така ми информира, ще говори за синтеза между текст и изображение. Така че пожелаваме една полезна вечер. И давам думата на Ираклис Папайоану.
Thank you, Nikolai. Obviously, he said some good words in Bulgarian, which I could not figure. If he said anything better, you can tell me later on in translation. I'm very glad to be here, invited by Nikolai, whom I met almost 20 years ago. And I'm very glad also to find him again, and see all these creative things that he's planning for the festival and for school. I would like also to thank you for being here and for waiting half an hour already because of this anomaly, this disturbance we had with the electricity. The presentation will not be perfect, but I think we'll manage despite that. And I would like to say just a few things about the museum because some people heard even the name for the first time, and then focus on the case of an exhibition that we organized last year, which was a very special exhibition for us, and I would like to explain why. So, the Thessaloniki Museum of Photography is a state institution, and it is the only state institution dedicated to photography in our country, Greece. It is active for the past 20 years, and it is located by the waterfront of the downtown area, as you can see, in an old house, in an old warehouse, if you follow the arrow. And here is the main entrance and the banner of the exhibition that I have been talking about. Its main purpose is to study, research, present the photographic art that is Greek and not necessarily only Greek, historical or contemporary. And we are trying to do this. We are trying to do this by collecting photographs and whole archives. Here you see a photograph from Balafas, a series of the early 60s, a very important photographic documentation of a huge public work. And here also you see a view of our exhibition hall while we are hosting the retrospective exhibition of Dimitris Leccios, a major photographer for Greek 20th century photography. But we also are organizing a festival. And if I may be true, the festival was existing before the museum, and maybe the museum was only because of the festival. The festival is almost 30 years old. It was started in 1988, and during its activities, the museum spreads all over the city in various museums and gallery spaces. As you can see here, this is a municipal gallery. This is a Greek exhibition, or even to not ordinary spaces like this one, which is a former army camp that we used for an exhibition of Susan Meiselos and her work about the revolution. We thought it was suitable, and she agreed with that likely. So we try also to organize educational programs for all our exhibitions and other activities that are related with research and presenting photography to the wider public, not only to the people initiated in it. Now, the case of the exhibition that I would like to talk about is Another Life, Human Flows, Unknown Odysseys. It is an exhibition that we organized regarding the refugee crisis that we all know that took place in, all along the line from Syria to Turkey to the Aegean, and from there on to other Balkan states, and of course people moved to Central and Northern Europe, many of them. This is, I think, the most difficult exhibition that we had to do, at least in the 30 years that I have been doing photographic exhibitions, and I will explain very briefly why. We thought that we needed to do this exhibition while the events were still unfolding, because people had to listen to a different story than the one the media usually play, over-dramatizing or under-dramatizing, depending upon the day or the week. So, if we did the exhibition 3 or 4 years after, it would have been something completely different, and all the energy of the event would have been lost. On the other hand, how do you do an exhibition about events that are still unfolding? It brought into my mind the words of John Philip Griffiths, the famous Magnum photographer, who did a book about Vietnam while the war was still on. And he asked himself, how do you do about a book that's not, how do you do a book about a war that's not still ended? We had that same questions, but nevertheless we felt that the exhibition had to be done. And the other difficulty, here you see the names of the 26 photographers. It was a survey also in Greek photojournalism with the occasion of this exhibition. The other difficulty was all the engaged photographers were still shooting on the events. So it was really very difficult to locate them and get all the necessary updates of their work regarding the crisis. Just to give you an example, the evacuation of the Idomeni railway station in the borders took place May 27th, and our opening was May 31st, and we managed to have photographs from the evacuation in the exhibition 4 days after. It was a difficult task, but nevertheless we thought it was worthwhile, and now it's time to talk about the photographs themselves. This is the beginning of the exhibition. It was a large collage with clips from the Greek international press, a sort of an introduction to the people. And this is a photograph that was placed before the actual body of work, along with a couple of more historical photographs. We wanted to remind with these photographs the people their own past, because almost every family in Greece has refugee blood in it, and this photograph shows people arriving from Minor Asia to the harbor of Thessaloniki, and these are their luggages. And also, the wall that you see on the right side of the photograph is the wall of the warehouse where our museum is situated. When I realized that, a shiver went down my spine, because I thought that there could not have been a more suitable place for such an exhibition if all this drama happened right outside this building. The exhibition was divided in two main parts. One had to do with the Aegean adventure, and the other one had to do with the effort of the people to leave the country and move towards Central and Northern and Western Europe. So this photograph symbolizes the first part, the adventure of the people to survive through the waves. It is a photograph by Iraklis Papaioanu, solely a lost document of a Somalian woman, and to the extent that the photographer could not document if the woman was saved and she just lost her documents in the sea, or if this is the only thing that was left from her. The photograph is a bit ambiguous and it symbolizes the adventure, the pain, and the danger. And this photograph is emblematic of the second part of the exhibition. It is a railway station in the Dometi where people were crowding in large amounts, trying to find an illegal passage across the borders of Europe and from there on to Serbia, Hungary, and other states in order to reach their desired destinations. And this entrance to Europe by the photographer is resembled to a claustrophobic image in which people are tiny silhouettes, faceless, and they are suppressed by this industrial landscape. Not a very warm welcome. Now, returning back to the Aegean part of the exhibition, some of the photographers selected to follow the Port Authority people in their efforts to locate people that were trying to cross the Aegean. What you see is not very well, is not very clear, this projection. This headlight that comes from the helicopter dashes some light on this dark spot of the image is a boat full of people, an overcrowded boat that was found in the middle of the night and people had to be rescued. Although the image seems a bit abstract because of the reflections and the lights from the boats coming in and out. And other photographers selected other ways, landscape ways and approaches to talk about this dumb place of life jackets and distracted boats, just to symbolize in a way the climax of the phenomenon. Or Angelo Giorginis, an awarded photographer for this photograph, particularly by Time magazine, selected the portrait idea representing this small girl with its steady look as a small angel. Or Alex Konstantinidis from Reuters agency chose to make a photograph of the refugees that make a selfie of themselves as soon as they set their foot on solid ground. I have to admit that until we discussed with the photographer some of these images, this one particularly, I was reading it wrong. I thought it was just another occasion of people wanting to secure a moment that was important for them because they were safe and they made it. But this is not the whole truth. The other half is the fact that they needed to send an image back to their families that they arrived. So they were making images of themselves as soon as they set their foot on shore. And at the nearest place that had an internet connection, they sent this image back home, which gives another existential, if you allow me the word, meaning to the image. Or this one, which doesn't really need many comments, two words that come together in the wrong moment. People enjoying, people in their bathing suits, other people in other dress codes trying to skip the danger and survive, all this in a few square meters. And other photographers like Petros Giannakoulis, who is a new talented photojournalist, chose more atmospheric at some point photographs, like this one of the two young girls waiting, kept to themselves in the corner of this composition, with the light coming from the upper left part and the shadows of the windows resembling to prison. Alexandros Katsis selected another way also to talk about this. This is a very unhappy occasion. It is a ferry that carries within it 18 corpses of people that didn't make it. And Alexandros selected to include in his photograph the shadows of the TV crews, photographers and journalists that were waiting, resembling this atmosphere of the media as vultures that are waiting to get their hands on the new prey. Something may be unavoidable, but at any event, unpleasant as well. And we also discussed in the museum and decided to make a small room that would have harsh photographs, photographs of people that didn't make it. Because, as we discussed with the photographers, the media is not playing this kind of photographs. They avoid to do so, but people have to see that all of these stories do not have a happy ending necessarily. So, with the permission of the photographers and with their encouragement, we selected a few photographs that can depict that, having a warning sign outside of the room for parents entering with children that needed, of course, to be warned, and also selected to remind to our fellow citizens that the refugee tragedy maybe had a peak, but it didn't start in 2015. There were refugees before coming in our country, there were immigrants, and some of them did not always receive the best reception. This is a photograph by Luisa Guillamaki showing a very unhappy occasion. A Pakistani immigrant in Athens that was beaten to death by a far-right group. Got enough publicity, but it doesn't bring back to life the people. And also, for the same reason, we decided, in order to criticize, if you want to put it this way, our own government authorities, to put photographs by Nikos Pilos, who did a few years ago this series called Stateless, which is a series of portraits, dark portraits of young people who are born in Greece. They are schooled in Greece, they have their friends and girlfriends and families there, but due to the fact that their families are immigrants, they do not have papers, IDs, passports, and of course a normal life. So it's not only about the crossing of the Aegean, which is of course a major drama, it's about people next door to us who are unnoticed, but they have serious problems in making a normal life. Luckily, when the exhibition was on, a law was voted in the parliament that will give these people their full rights. And our exhibition didn't have that effect. I'm not implying that. Parliament was discussing that even before. But I am saying that this is a betterment of their lives, and I hope it resolves the issue for good. And then other photographers who depicted scenes of the refugee life in Athens and Piraeus gave us photographs as this one by George Karahalis, who I think many times, because for me it has a historical echo. This representation you see on top of the warehouse is a representation that commemorates the battle in Salamina, in which ancient Greeks defeated ancient Persians and their battleships. And the story says that this way they interrupted their effort to conquer Europe, and it is considered a major moment in European history and so on. I was thinking that the people living temporarily in the tents underneath, some of them come from the very same grounds of ancient Persia, but instead of coming with their battleships to conquer this, now they come in overcrowded boats, and it is this historical echo that makes this photograph, I think, even more important. And then, of course, there were the photographs of the Idomeni that I will show a few examples. This is one that I noted particularly by Andonis Pasvandis, a photograph showing a young refugee woman in her tent. There is a small window from which she can look outside, but herself, she can be looked by anybody, anytime, because it is a semi-transparent material and she has no privacy. But do refugees have privacy after all? At least in the first period of their new life? Or this one, that it is related with the moments of tension in the borders between the two neighboring countries, with children in between and sometimes suffering from the violence there. Or this one by Milos Byzantsky, who depicts a moment of prayer, a moment of serenity and calmness in the railway station of Idomeni, 2016. And we also attempted to make a different piece with photographs. I'm just giving you a very rough idea with this slide. We invited two young Syrian boys, Tito and Mast, Tito from Aleppo and Mast from Homs, to bring into the museum their own photographs, their own selfies, their own memory photographs from their families, and guided by photographer Georgios Makas to make this piece, which is their own personal story. And they wrote it in Arabic on the wall. My name is Tito, and this is my story. Maybe the photographs are not of the same quality as that of the professional photojournalists, but the truth is that they are more authentic. They are photographs from people who crossed the sea, photographs themselves while doing that, their pleasures and terrors, and that cannot be denied by anyone. And we thought that they should have some place on the wall as well. And also, we decided to make two projections, each one having a special significance. The first one had photojournalistic material that was not included in the exhibition, but the target was another one. We thought that due to the fact that the events were still unfolding, if we had a presentation, a projection like this on the wall, we would perhaps add photographs to that from new events that were happening while the exhibition was going on. And this is what we did. This series of photographs, for example, by Petros Giannakouris, shows refugee women that gave birth to their children in Greek territory, being the first refugee babies of this whole adventure. And we kept adding photographs that were discussing aspects of this whole history that took place after the exhibition had already opened. It was dedicated to the people, the citizens of our country, who lifted up their sleeves and offered themselves to help, who gathered food, clothing, gave their time, and in many cases their houses to house people. So we gathered photographs from their Facebook pages and made a projection that commemorates this contribution, because, as we found out, the photojournalists, absorbed by the events and by the desires of the newspapers and the magazines, did not exactly depict that side of this whole affair. This is the cover of the exhibition catalog, which we did, and I am showing it to you because it's something we did for the first time, and I'm very happy with it. We managed to find some sponsoring, some state sponsoring, in order to have this catalog. And we decided, along with the photographers, to give all the revenues of the catalog to a school in Thessaloniki, a school in a very poor neighborhood, whose director opened the school to a refugee class of young children in elementary school. many other neighborhoods in our city did not exactly do that. So in order to support this symbiosis example of children from our city and refugee children living in the same school and spending their days there, we said that we will help them this way. And this summer, after the full cycle of the exhibition, we managed to buy for them materials at the worth of 6,200 euros, which is not a huge amount, but nevertheless it makes, we hope, their life better. And I would like to end the presentation with a few very significant for me photographs, tell you a little story about them, and then complete the presentation. This is a photograph from our educational programs during the exhibition. 5,500 students visited our exhibition. Not all of them were happy, because some were trained from their families to regard refugees as a burden, but we discussed with them, all of them, and didn't exactly try to change their minds, but open to them some new data that they might not have in mind. One day, a school came, a Greek elementary school, and my colleague, who is a specialist in educational programs, used this photograph, whom I like very much, because it also symbolizes a refugee condition, a woman lying in a tent. Everywhere around her is dark, and there's no roots anywhere. It is like she's free-floating somewhere in the darkness, and she's defenseless, not only for herself, but against the camera as well. And she took this photograph and cut a piece of it and asked from the children to draw whatever they thought was pleasant enough that she could be dreaming of. So at this particular day came to this school, and among the 15, 18 small children, one of them was coming from Syria. She didn't know. So he started pointing the photographs in a very intense way. And my colleague understood that and asked the teacher, who had never said anything before that, and he explained to her that he comes from Syria. She was very disappointed because, as she told me later on, if she knew it from the beginning, she would have tried to think of the best possible way to accommodate his presence and not make him feel in a traumatic way. So when it came for them the time to draw, he said to my colleague, I don't want to draw something which is happy. And this is what he did. He did a school with wounded children and bombs falling from the sky, which of course is absolutely understandable because of his experiences. So my colleague, when the school left, came into my office running and said, I think I messed it up all. I think that today we made somebody very unhappy. And what are you going to do? I asked her. I am going to call the teacher as soon as the school closes. So she's calling him at 2:30, and she comes in my office again, telling me that the teacher answered that the boy is okay, and he didn't have any problem with the photographs, but when they came back to the school, he raised his hands and asked permission to say for the first time how he came from Syria, to explain to his fellow classmates how they crossed the sea, which was something that up to the moment was keeping to himself and never discussed publicly. So she was relaxed, and I told her that if this is true, this is the best compliment that I have ever heard for an exhibition that we did and curated, because if an exhibition can open the heart of someone and make him describe what he felt, all his bad experiences, and especially a child, then we did something which is not bad. And this is the last photograph of the exhibition and the presentation by Yannis Bechakis. It's a very famous one. It was all over the internet. Closing the presentation, I would like to share with you a few thoughts that refer to the title also of the presentation, the post-humanist and post-photography era. Those of us in this room that have spent more time with photography and questions about it have read all these things about the rejection of humanism in photography in the 70s and the 80s, and all these ideas about the post-photography era, which is that we live in a society of images, and we don't need new images, but we can make images that refer to other images already existing from the internet or elsewhere. I think that when a tragedy hits your door, at least this is the lesson of the 20th century, photography will always be there, and of course moving image as well. And even if it cannot resolve all the issues, we should be able to think that it has helped enormously things not to get better. And this is not at all something that we can dismiss. Thank you.